shadow in the government's game. Pawn as a child with no face and no name. They stole my past to leave me cold and alone. Always searching for a place I could call home. I was lost in the dark, just a tool in the hand, till she pulled me close and helped me understand. Now the fire inside is starting to rise. I can see the truth through 1,000 lies. Now I tear through the veil, leave holes in the sky. I can read every thought in the blink of an eye. Danica, my witch, she's the magic in me. Yeah, I finally found what they took from me. With a hellhound beside me, I'm standing my ground. No longer a ghost that's never been found. In the dead of the night, I can hear the call. All the ghosts of my past scratching through the wall. My eyes change colors, the power has grown. With Crowley the hound, I'm never alone. I used to be hollow, a man made of glass, but now I am reclaiming every year that has passed. Every memory is falling right back into place. I know every name and I remember every face. Now I tear through the veil, leave holes in the sky. I can read every thought in the blink of an eye. Danica, my witch, she's the magic in me. Yeah, I finally found what they took from me. With a hell beside me, I'm standing my ground. No longer a ghost that's never been found. I ain't running no more, yeah, I'm ready to fight. Gonna settle that debt in the depth of the night. They tried to break me, they tried to erase, but they can't hide the blood from the scars on my face. The veil is thin and the engine is hot. I'm taking back everything that they thought I forgot. Now I tear through the veil, leave holes in the sky. I can read every thought in the blink of an eye. Danica, my witch, she's the magic in me. Yeah, I finally found what they took from me. With a tailhound beside me, I'm standing my ground. No longer a ghost that's never been found. I remember it all now. Every single face, I'm calling for you in the dead of the night.
Hello and welcome. Tonight's story is going to be about the Mistress of Memphis. Now, I was down there at Memphis and hung out for a while, just kind of recuperating and relaxing. Well, I'd ask around about some of the sites besides Graceland. Went there, and it popped up that there was this, like a shopping center, mall, street mall, whatever the hell you want to call it. It had a big park in the center, and it was like a road made out of cobblestone, but no vehicles were allowed in there. So I took the bus over. Found out it was called the Memphis Plaza. And I said there was all kinds of stores on each side of the park that kind of run down through the center. Had trees, park benches, and water fountains. And I said it had a bunch of stores on each side, and no traffic was allowed in there, just foot walking. Well, I started out at one end. Decided I'd make a day of it. People watching and watching the pigeons and the little squirrels playing. And I've always been a people watcher. It's fun to see how people react, and sometimes the way they're dressed and the way they carry themselves, and Today wasn't no different. I was mainly trying to relax. So I got me a soda and started walking up through the plaza. Well, I walked a couple blocks and found a nice place to sit. I was sitting there watching the pigeons and watching people tossing out crumbs and bread to the pigeons and peanuts to the squirrels. Well, as I was watching, I noticed that these squirrels would come right up to you. But there were signs all over the place. Don't hurt the birds, don't hurt the pigeons, don't hurt the squirrels. Only feed them these certain things. And periodically, there would be stores that would have bags of stuff for the birds and the squirrels, bread and nuts. So, I was sitting there watching. These squirrels would come right up to you and take the nut right out of your hand. Pigeons are the same way, as long as you sit still. Well, I got a kick out of watching them little gray squirrels. So, like most of the other people there, I made a beeline in after I seen somebody come out with a bag of stuff and got me a bag of stuff for the birds and the squirrels and proceeded to take a seat on the bench. But, like I said, you'd hold them nuts in your finger and them squirrels come right up there and take them out of your hand. Hell, sometimes they climb up on the bench beside you, sit on your lap, or they get up on your shoulder. Same with the pigeons. Well, I thought that was just neat as hell. Now, other than being told about the plaza, I didn't know anything else. So, I was sitting there people watching and watching the little critters and feeding them, drinking on my soda. Now, way down, I hadn't made it down that far yet. Way down at the other end, I noticed here come a woman. Way the hell up there. I mean, I could just barely see her. But something caught my attention. Not sure exactly. Maybe it was a ambiance she was putting out, or I don't know, but it drew my attention, so I started watching. She had this real black looking dress on, big old poofy dress down by the legs. At the wrist, it poofed out. Well, the closer she got, the more stuff I noticed. She had on big black, like knee-high boots, but you couldn't see them because of the dress. But anyway, closer she got, more stuff I noticed. Black gloves. Great big huge black hat. I mean, it was fucking huge. All the way around the brim of this big hat was a veil that went down probably right below her chest maybe, and then all the way around her shoulders and onto her back. Well, I noticed nobody was approaching her. She kind of weaved in and out of the people meandering around. Well, these squirrels and stuff that was there eating, they noticed her. And up the street they went, just a tearing it. So I'm sitting there watching, trying to figure out what this lady, if you know anything about Tennessee, it rained in the morning. Then the sky parts, the sun comes out, and it's like a bake oven. And the best thing to do is find a shade tree or a nice cool spot, because them southern summers are a hot son of a bitch. Well, I had me a good shady spot. So I kept watching, and she's making her way down with this big old giant cart. It's like a shopping cart. And I mean, this thing is rounded up, and all you can see is like from her nose down because this cart's so full of shit. Peanuts, cereal, bread. It's amazing how much shit she had in that cart. So I thought, okay, she's about 3 or 4 blocks away. I'll run in and grab me a sandwich, another soda, and I'm going to sit out here because I want to see who this person is, dressed up like that. And I've been sitting there for a little bit, and I hadn't seen nobody dressed like this. So I was intrigued. I thought maybe it was like maybe a street actor, or maybe somebody just dressed in the part of a Southern belle. Hell, I didn't know. Maybe she dressed up like she's going to a funeral. So I take me a spot on the bench, and here she comes. There's birds, pigeons, on her cart, on her shoulder, on top of her hat. Her head is not bouncing like this as she's walking. No, her head stays... I mean, you could have put a book on her head, and it wouldn't have fell off. Hey, you probably could have put a stack up there. She walked with that head back and that chin up like she was the Queen of Sheba. So I'm sitting there watching. Now, I know this is going to sound stupid, but I'm being honest. It's not no joke. I was trying to figure out, okay, is she a white lady? Is she a black lady? Is she light complected, dark complected? How in the hell is she wearing all this all black? What's the reasoning for this? Is she in mourning? Hell, I don't know. These are answers I was going to try to figure out. I'm very inquisitive. I see something, I got to figure it out. Otherwise, it just drives me crazy. So there was my hobby for the day. She's coming, and she gets within almost a block. Now, this street deal in between them stores is really wide. She stops amongst these clump of trees and flowers and stuff, and I can only see, like, the back side of her. But she had a long, dark hair that went down about her waist. And it had a whole bunch of black ribbons. Like, well, that's weird. As if things could get any weirder. And I'm not kidding you. Even in the shade, it's hot. Thank God for the breeze. I'd have melted right out there. The more I watch her, I'm thinking, Jesus goddamn Christ, she's got to be hot. And I don't mean hot as in pretty. I mean hot as in melting butter. Holy shit. So I'm sitting there waiting to see if she's going to come out, or maybe she's going to come around them and come down through the center right in front of me. And she's feeding the birds out of her hand, and she sticks it up to her dress, and the pigeons are all over eating. Then she holds her hands out, and the squirrels climb up her dress and sit there in her arm eating nuts. 3 and 4 squirrels. Like, how in the hell is she not getting bit? Well, all of a sudden, I seen her take a handful of nuts and a handful of bread, and she tossed it. It's kind of like that. Well, all them birds and squirrels left and went down where she had threw all that stuff. She grabbed her cart, and I could see the top part of her hat. She made kind of a circle and come back out. But right before you get to where I was at, there was another cut through. Well, she come down, and I'm staring. I want to see who the hell this is behind this veil and this big hat and these dark clothes. They got to be melting. She cut through there. And like, well, shit. So I wait, and here she comes down in front of me. Well, she's only probably maybe 15, 20 feet from where I'm at, but when she gets up fairly close, her head is turned away from me as she's walking. All of a sudden, she turns the cart. She starts going through those bags, getting stuff out, and them pigeons and squirrels, here they come. But she was whistling some kind of a tune. I don't know what the hell it even was. Maybe it's an old lullaby or something. Them squirrels and birds just going crazy. I mean, you almost couldn't see her for the critters. But I was sitting there, and she kind of moved her head a little bit, like she was whistling a tune for these animals, like she was calling them in and whistling the lullaby. And I'm looking at that dress and I'm thinking, God damn, it's making me sweat just sitting here watching her with all that black on. Jesus Christ. So I thought, okay, she ain't going to turn around. I'd like to at least see her face. I'm puzzled. So I grabbed my bag of stuff, my soda. I take my trash and put it in the trash bin there. And I get up and I move way out around her, trying to get where I could see her better. I want to see who the hell this is. How the hell can they not be fucking sweating? So I got over there, and I'm sitting kind of catty corner, but still now in front of her. And again, she turns her head. I'm like, what the fuck? So I start to get up. Well, I seen this guy come from the storefront. He made a beeline straight for me. So I thought, oh fuck, here we go. So I just sat there. He come up there and he goes, anybody sitting here? No. He said, you mind if I sit here? Knock yourself out, man. It's free country. He sat down there and he goes, so what are you doing? I said, well, feeding the squirrels, feeding the birds, and people watching. I said, I'm on like a mini vacation. And I was told about this place, so I want to come over and check it out. But right now, I'm sitting there trying to figure this lady out. And I mean, this guy started having beads of sweat on his forehead. And I got water just running off me. I said, how in the hell can she be standing there feeding those birds, dressed in all black, and not be fucking sweating? You'd think there'd be a puddle of sweat underneath of there. He goes, did you read the signs? I said, yeah. Don't mess with the birds, don't mess with the squirrels. He goes, yeah. Don't mess with her. I said, oh, that's your wife or your mom or somebody? He goes, no. That's the mistress of Memphis. You mess with her and it costs you just as much money if you mess with one of them birds or squirrels. That's why I just wanted to see who she is. I said, she's kind of mysterious looking. He goes, nobody's ever got a close look at her face. I said, well, why is that? I said, is it against the law or what? I wasn't going to say nothing stupid. The way she dressed, I wanted to see who in the hell it was wearing that kind of garb. Kind of cool. Like something you see from the 1800s. He goes, well, just know that everybody around in these stores, they watch out for her. I said, oh, she's kind of slow or something? No. Well, now I'm puzzled. I'm really curious, but I'm puzzled as hell. I said, so why does everybody watch out for her? Has she been mugged or something before down here? And he goes, no. We watch for her. She makes several trips up and down through here, up until closing time. And then she disappears around one of these corners. I said, does anybody know who she is or where she lives? Nope. Now, my curiosity is piqued. I said, is there anything else you can tell about it? And he goes, yeah. We watch for her early in the morning as we're opening up. If we see her, it's going to be a nice, hot day. If we don't see her, it's going to be a bad storm, maybe a tornado or hail or something bad. If we see her and she ducks into a corner and we don't see her no more, that means there's something bad approaching. I suppose she's kind of like a guardian. Maybe she just knows the weather. He goes, no. I said, well, does anybody know when she started showing up here? He goes, in the early 1940s. I said, get the hell out of here. He goes, you think I'm joking? Go to the Historical Society or pick a library down here and go in there and they have articles about her. I said, you ain't shitting, are you? And he goes, no, I'm not. He said, so when you see her, that's a good omen. As long as she's here, everything's okay. I said, well, let me ask you a question. He goes, do you believe in ghosts? I said, yeah, I do. I said, is that what you think she is? He goes, we're not sure what she really is. But he said, let me put it to you this way. I would just soon step out in front of a Greyhound bus as to walk up there and look her in the face. I said, have you ever seen her face? He goes, hell no, and I don't want to either. He said, she was out here walking one day. She don't bother nobody, she don't speak to nobody. Just feeds the birds. And there was a young kid come running through here. And I guess he thought he was going to try to rob her. When he grabbed her by the arm, she turned and looked at him, and he raised that veil. His hair turned snow white. He took off running, run through one of the alleys. When he come out on the other side by the highway, a bus fucking hit him and killed him. Nobody's ever seen her face and lived to tell about it. Well, that's weird. So now I'm even more curious. What if you just get a glimpse? I was young and stupid. That's all I can say. I should have heeded his warning and went on. I watched her mosey past. She got about even with me and she turned her head directly in my direction. She was a colored lady. But she had no nose, no mouth. Only black sockets where her eyes were. Now, she wasn't using a cane. But that's what I could see through that veil as she passed by. It made me think twice. Like, nope, I ain't got nothing. Fuck this. Well, I watched her go on down. I was going the other way. So I got up, started walking and thinking, what the hell did I just see? I wonder if anybody else has seen that or noticed it. There wasn't no facial expression, there wasn't no nose, no mouth. Just two black holes where these eyes should have been underneath that veil. Like, that's just fucking creepy. But these birds and stuff wasn't scared of her. So I was like, phew, did I just see things? Maybe the heat caused me to imagine this? So I keep walking, I find another place to sit, and I'm throwing stuff out to the birds and squirrels. And I'll be son of a bitch. She comes back. Well, I seen this old black lady coming toward me, and she said, is there anybody sitting there beside you? No, have a seat. And this lady in the black hat, veil, and dress, and them boots, come walking with that cart. This black lady didn't miss a beat. She started in doing the sign of the cross. And when that lady passed by, she nodded her head to her. So I'm watching as she goes by, and I'm thinking, man, I don't want to see that face. After she gets past, that old black lady goes, you don't want to mess with her. I said, I wasn't planning on messing with her. I just fascinated me the way she was dressed. She goes, she comes from a time long, long ago. She was probably killed somewhere around here. And now, she's an omen. If you see her, you have good weather. If you don't, better get in someplace because it's going to be nasty weather. That's what this other guy told me, that this young guy tried to rob her or do something, and he raised that veil and his hair turned snow white. She goes, yeah, then he got hit by a bus. I said, well, it must be true. He said it and you're agreeing with it. She goes, don't ever follow her. She goes in one of these alleys to go toward the highway. Don't follow her. But you must know something that the other guy don't. She goes, a little bit, and she said, I wish I didn't know. I said, well, what happened? She said, I was here in the park one day, just enjoying the day. And she pulled there in front of me and was feeding the birds, and I was like you, I was curious. And said I watched as she went on up the street a little ways. She turned around and looked directly at me, and she never looks at nobody. She said I couldn't see through the veil, but I could tell that she had turned. So I kept watching her. All of a sudden, she rested in her dress pocket, pulled out a black hanky, and she started walking, and all of a sudden, I seen it fall to the ground, so I said, I run up there to grab it, to give it back to her. And the lady just there and just kept staring. She goes, well, here's your hanky. You dropped it over there. And the lady looked there and she went, I was looking around. I didn't see nothing. And that lady, still looking at her, and she went like this. When that lady turned and looked where she had been sitting when this lady passed her and dropped the hanky, there was a guy that went there and sat down. And you could see the gun sticking out of his pocket. She was trying to warn that lady. And that lady looked there and said, aren't you scared? And she is. And she pointed the other direction. That lady got scared. She started walking that way, thinking that's what the lady told her to do, to go that way. Well, this guy got up to follow her, was going to rob her. In the meantime, this mistress of Memphis started dropping money as she was walking. Yeah. The guy followed her, figured she had money instead, and left the other lady alone. When he went around the corner, he got hit by a bus. So she's been known to protect people there, whether you're from there or you're just visiting. But my advice is, don't try to approach her. If she wants to approach you, she'll approach you, but don't mess with her. She's just there to provide a service and let people know about the weather, maybe keep you from getting robbed or killed. So when you go down there and you see her, just know that she's there for your protection and protection of the city. Don't be like me. I was stupid. I was curious. Well, curiosity could have killed this damn cat. I could have got hit by one of them damn greyhounds. But like I said, you'll see her down there. And it's an amazing sight because you're not expecting it. You're expecting to see people dressed in everyday clothes. And like I said, in the summertime, it's hotter than hell down there. I can tell you, I spent quite a bit of time down there, and it's hot. But it's a beautiful place. And when you see this lady, it is kind of a shock. Now, is she a ghost? Maybe. Is she a witch? Maybe. Don't know. They said she showed up in the 1940s, early 1940s. I don't know. Never did find out the whole true story. All I know is the guy told me that she showed up in early 1940s. But I can tell you this. She never goes in none of those stores. She just walks that long park feeding the squirrels and the birds, not bothering nobody. Then she's gone. Most times she's there all day long. But if she disappears, you want to get the hell out of there. Find shelter. Get you an umbrella. Better than that, get inside of one of the stores because it's getting ready to rain or storm bad. Like I said, if you ever see her, be glad you seen her. Even if it's only from a distance. But if she ducks out, you better take shelter someplace. Like I said, most times she's there all day long. Up and down, feeding the birds and squirrels. If you watch her when she's away from you. She never lets nobody get in front of her. If somebody starts walking behind her and comes up, she'll turn. I don't know why. I know what I thought I seen. But she looked just as solid as me and you, but from what I could see through that veil, it was like there was a void except where her eye sockets were. She was a colored lady, from what I could tell. Maybe like a Creole or something. That don't mean she's bad. I was just stating a fact. That was my observation. Do I really know what nationality she is? No. But her skin was dark. And her hair had frizz. I was just fascinated because you just don't see people dressed like that unless they're reenactors, you know. And that's what I thought she was. But Obviously not. I went there several days in a row. She was there several days in a row. Just walking them down the storefront there. Never went in none of them. Never seen her carry a bottle of water or nothing. But you ever get down there by the Memphis Plaza, go in there and sit in between them stores in that little park-like area. They got trees and stuff, bushes and stuff, and feed the squirrel and just watch. You'll see her. But be nice. Because if she is a witch, dude, she could put the commitherans on you. You go from being 6 foot tall down to 2 foot tall. But, like I said, I did see her those several days there in that park. She wasn't bothering nobody. But I was still shocked. I mean, it was like the heat didn't bother her. So, she could have been a ghost. You know, like they have the Flying Dutchman that warned you of impending doom. Well, maybe seeing her is, like the guy and that lady said, let you know the weather's going to be good. Maybe she's watching out for people there. So just, if you see her, just watch her and go on and leave her be. Okay, well, that's for tonight's story. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.